So basically, my backstory a little bit is I went from here, graduated 2006, to the College of New Jersey, and from there kind of figured out.
I'm Victoria Lapinson. I'm entertainment editor of the Voyager, and I'm here with Jason Lipshutz, a former entertainment editor of the Voyager.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we're here with Josh Meyers as well, another entertainment editor. So let's get started. So what do you do? What's your position? And what is your responsibility?
So I'm the senior director of music at Billboard magazine. My responsibility is coverage of music, basically whatever that form that takes in terms of storytelling, in terms of digital coverage, print coverage, social media coverage, and making sure that we are telling best stories in music.
What's difficult about that position?
What's difficult about that position is knowing and being aware of all different types of music, whether it's hip-hop, pop, rock, indie, K-pop, Latin music, country, just being on the pulse of every different kind of music. There's so much music. There's more music than there's ever been. So you need to be aware of so many different trends, so many different artists, so many different songs that people are really paying attention to.
How important has networking been to get you this far?
Networking has been very important. I think that obviously face-to-face interaction as well as daily work and figuring out what you're good at is crucial in terms of developing relationships and eventually securing a professional career.
So how did you get to the position you are today?
So after I was part of Mr. Bound's Voyager crew at Eastern, I attended the College of New Jersey and interned there a couple different places, commuted into the city. When I graduated in 2010, I was offered a position at Billboard as an entry-level editorial assistant, and was at Billboard for 5 years. I left for a year, and now I've been back. I've had a couple different roles at Billboard, but yeah, happy to be in the current role.
Cool. How different is the Voyager class today to when you were here?
It's a lot different. It's a lot bigger. We only had a couple, 10, 11 people on staff when I was at the Voyager. Now it seems to be a lot bigger. I see a lot of iPads. That's pretty cool. That did not exist, any kind of tablet. I see that it's also online. I see that it's also in color. None of these things were taking place when I was at the Voyager. So it's pretty cool to see how much it's developed and evolved.
Do you find it difficult to separate being a fan from being a writer when you're doing these interviews with big celebrities?
Sometimes, yeah. I think that sometimes you need to be aware of, I'm a big fan of this song or this album or this artist, but you also have to be professional, and you have to tell yourself, look, I'm here not as a fan, not to geek out for this artist, but to ask them questions, and it's part of my job and it's part of my duty to kind of help them tell their story and ask them the questions that are the most meaningful.
Mm-hmm. If you don't like an artist, a genre, a song, because everyone has their own opinion, how do you approach that?
Again, I think you just have to be professional about it. I think that, I've talked to plenty of artists who I don't care for their music or their songs, but they're also people. They're also people who are putting their art out into the world, and they deserve to be treated with respect, not kind of brushed aside. So just being able to keep that in mind and focus on the job at hand is really important.
Are celebrities really as down to earth as they act in these interviews and on social media?
Some are not, but it's fun to kind of see get a taste of their personality. Sometimes an artist really is down to earth. They just want to be treated like a normal person, and they happen to be making music for a living and they love it often, and you can have a conversation with them. Other times it's a little bit trickier, but it's my job to figure out the balance of celebrity versus normal person and kind of strike a correspondence with that.
So you live in New York. How has living in New York affected your career?
Living in New York has been very beneficial. A lot of the music industry is based in New York. Obviously, I grew up in South Jersey. I'm still a Philadelphia sports fan. But the entire industry is based in New York and Los Angeles for the most part. There's also a lot of country artists and the industry in Nashville. But, just being able to quickly meet with a label or quickly interact with people in New York has been really, really beneficial.
Cool. Who has influenced your taste in music?
That's a great question. I think that it's less about people influencing my taste in music and more about critics and music sites and different outlets that I really respect. When I was in high school and college, I read Pitchfork religiously. I listened to a lot of the albums that they recommended. Same with a couple other websites. Now it's less about critics and more about, and especially because music is so accessible now, you can just go on Spotify and listen to whatever you want. And it's more about if a friend tells me that there's something that I like, if there's a writer who writes something really glowing about something that I really respect, I find music through that.
Cool.
So, if you could interview any celebrity or any musician or group, past or present, who would it be?
Wow. I was just saying in a few minutes ago that I've actually never interviewed, I've never met Lady Gaga. It's funny, she's one of the ones I've just never crossed paths with her, so that would be pretty cool I'm a fan, and that would be cool to get to meet her someday, hopefully someday.
What are some of the most famous celebrities you interviewed?
Most famous celebrities I've interviewed, Taylor Swift, Drake, Madonna. I'm trying to think. I've interviewed Shawn Mendes a million times, Ed Sheeran, and then it's always really cool to meet like a legend. Like I think I interviewed Metallica once, and they're just like such a big deal. Same with like I think like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like just artists who have been around forever and ever, and you're actually like, whoa, I'm actually talking to this person. It's pretty cool.
When you were in high school, did you ever think you would be in this position?
Honestly, when I was in high school, I was just gunning for Mr. Bound's career. I just was like, I'm gonna take his job someday. You never know. No, I honestly didn't know. When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I didn't know what kind of writing I wanted to do. But it's been a fun ride. I love my job and I love what I do.
Cool.
So, what makes a good song? You've listened to, I assume, so much music. What makes a song quality? What makes it good?
There's no real answer to that. It's because one of the things I love about music is that it comes in all different types of forms with as many different voices as you can possibly have. And there's no one way to make a compelling song. There are songs that I love that are 2-minute verse chorus songs, and there are songs that I love that are 11 minutes completely free form across different types of genres. So it's hard to it's hard because, and the fun thing also about music is that everybody has different music tastes, everybody has different preferences. So I know what I like, but in terms of what makes a good song, it's all in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
How has music influenced your outlook on life?
I think that everybody in our society has some sort of relationship with music because we can all agree, even though we all have different tastes in music, that music makes us feel something. Music makes us either inspired or excited or emotional, and I think that feeling, that recognizing that feeling, is really important. And that's the thing, is as much as my job and my day-to-day, and sometimes my job isn't fun, but still writing about music, talking about music is exciting because music itself is exciting.
Cool.
So, as someone who comes from the Eastern community, who was an Eastern student, who wrote for the Voyager, what advice, or is there anything you would like to add to this community about your success or about how to achieve such success?
Oh, wow. I guess what I would just say is pursue your passions. I would say that, look, my passion is music, but it's not everyone's. And I think that obviously practicing, getting better at your craft, doing as much work over and over and over again as you can, because everybody has to start somewhere. Everybody has to start at the bottom and work their way up. It's just part of the process. There's no kind of shortcuts to what I do or what people who are professional journalists do. They have to get better and take their time to get better. But on a base answer, just pursue your passion, pursue what you're interested in. It might not always work out exactly how you think. I never thought I'd be at Billboard or writing about pop music, but I was passionate about music in general, and I found my way here.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. This has been Victoria Lapinson and Josh Meyers interviewing Jason Lipshutz. Thank you.
Twice a week, a couple different places. Eventually interning at Billboard my junior year. I was doing some freelance work,